Good morning. Are you ready to take another exploration into Gustav Klimt? We are visiting the Secession, which was a revolution in art. And I have to say, this was a deep dive. I had to cut this video down. I also had to cut down the little presentation that I put together. Here, I'm going to be filling in the ABs that I switched out for the symbol A on this canvas, which is from Diamond Painting Shop. It's called The Kiss. And I've had to take some of the drills out that I put in already. I don't know that I videotaped that part, but I have another section. So if I didn't, I will make sure to do it with the next video so that you can see how I go about doing that. So, good morning again. Today we're going to embark on a journey through the artistic revolution that was spearheaded by our artist here, Gustav Klimt, and the Vienna Secession movement. So I am just setting up here. I believe I'm just trying to cut away from the plastic. What I did here was I actually carved out the couple, and I did a lot. Honestly, this painting should have just been called The Kiss Confetti, because I think that the robe and the tunic, the dress and the tunic that we see here are probably the only bits of color blocking. The rest of the, 90% of this canvas is confetti. So anyway, we're going to delve into the historical context and the principles that guided the secession movement. And including the Kiss, three of Klimt's groundbreaking works that continue to inspire and captivate his audiences and audiences worldwide. So the background on the secession period was that in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, there was significant societal and cultural shifts across Europe. Vienna, where Klimt was from, in particular, was a hub of intellectual fervor, and there was a lot of grappling with the clash between tradition, the traditionalist, and modern. And the established art institutions of the time, namely the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, stifled innovation and creativity. And this prompted Klimt, who was one of the founders and president of the Secession, it prompted a group of artists, which was led by Klimt, to seek a new path forward. Those first AB drills going down are so exciting. I will be just putting down here a few of the drills, and then I'm going to give you an overhead shot, and then that's where the camera will stay overhead. The formation of the Secession happened in 1897. Klimt and a few of his contemporaries founded the Vienna Secession, and this was a radical breakaway from the academic norms. Their manifesto declared the intention to create a space free from the constraints of traditional art institutions, advocating for artistic freedom and experimentation. The Secessionists embraced a diverse range of styles, from symbolism to art nouveau. Now, I find that most of Klimt's paintings combine the two. We know how, if you've been here for at least the past 5 sessions or a few, we know that Klimt was very much into symbolism, and art nouveau was just starting to break through. So they were united by their rejection of the status quo and their commitment to pushing artistic boundaries. The key principles of the movement were artistic freedom, The secessionists championed the autonomy of the artist, valuing personal expression above institutional dictates. And this had to be a very exciting time during this early 1900s, where you had, I just trying to think about that time and what roles women were playing, which were few, and what roles men were playing. And then here you had this, these young bravado of artists that all came together to say, no, we're not, even though they studied at these institutions they were fighting against. We want to venture into more. And I don't know why there was such a push back to wanting to expand your artistic talent. So another principle was the unity of the arts. They embraced the total work of the art concept. They integrated various art forms, including painting, sculpture, architecture, and decorative arts into their immersive environments. And I went into the Barnes Museum and was completely, overwhelmed by how Barnes, which was his home, his museum was his home, and he purchased. The Barnes Museum is here in Philadelphia, and Barnes was the collector of some of the most famous works of arts. He has the largest private collection. And he wasn't into the, she socialites at the time who were dictating to him what was art and what wasn't art. He used his own eye, and he created one of the most massive private collections of art that everyone had wanted to get their hands on once he died. And if you're interested in that at all, I would suggest that you look into the art of the steel about Barnes and his collection, which is, oh my gosh, I can't, I've been there twice already and I still have not seen the entire museum. But when he would put a painting on the wall, he integrated an entire concept. He included not just the painting, but he included the way that he curated the painting, or whatever it was. It could have been the sculpture, it could have been the architecture, maybe there was a desk there or other decorative arts into that one environment. I'll put a picture up if I still have it. I know I put it in one of my last sessions that I did on this masterclass. So this photo here is one of my own from the Barnes Museum, and what you can see here is like a Renoir, a Monet, there's Van Gogh, but it's also the architecture, the chair, the different implements that he had hanging from all different decades. So this kind of reminds me of probably what the Vienna Secession Museum looked like. Not just the painting, but integrating various art forms and curating them so that they all went together well. Another principle was spiritual exploration. Many of the secessionists delved into themes of spirituality and mysticism, the subconscious, seeking to evoke emotional and psychological responses in their viewers. And I think that Klimt did that very well. We know that he delved into mysticism and spirituality and mythology, and I do think that there is an emotional and psychological response to this painting in general. It is still being questioned, which I'll get into a little bit later in this presentation. Another principle was innovation and technique. And the secessionists wanted to experiment with new materials and techniques, and subject matter was encouraged, leading to the emergence of groundbreaking styles and iconography. So what I noticed with Klimt's paintings is that they're very flat. he used, I know his father is given a lot of credit to being, that he worked with the gold leafing, but it was really Klimt's. I'm sure his father did have an influence, but it was his trip to Italy, and when he was looking at those religious paintings that had all the gold surrounding them, that's really what influenced him. But he didn't just use gold. There's a few sections in this painting, diamond painting that I'm doing, where it's mimicking the silver that he put into the painting, and also platinum. So I find that to be very interesting, that they wanted to, explore what it was like to use these new materials and to try out these new techniques. And Klimt put a lot of techniques together in one painting. In this painting, I mean, we did a deep dive into this painting. It was like a short little, taking a closer look, and I was looking at the area that I wanted to enhance. And you really can't see much when you're looking at these canvases with your naked eye. And it's why it helps when I do these videos, because I'm looking at it and I can see more of the outline through the camera's eye. And as I was looking at the area that I wanted to enhance, it kind of to me looked like another person. And, just him wanting to, and I had, as I took a deeper dive into it and looked really close at it with my camera, and I had my magnifying glass out, you could see the sketchwork. We actually went into the Belvedere Museum in Vienna and looked at the original painting in that 15-minute clip that I did. And I really zoomed in on her face, and his hands and her hands, and you could see the pencil marks underneath. And so he not only experimented with these new materials and techniques, but he put a lot of them together. Like, his paintings were flat. It wasn't that he did a sketch and then covered it up again. So yeah, I mean, I could see where they did want to break away from what was the norm for the time. And just like these, I think most of Klimt's paintings during this time were deemed Art Nouveau, and also symbolism. And I think that they were all oil on canvas. So we'll get into who was against the secession, who were these people that were against this innovation and moving forward. So one of the groups that were against this moving forward and were the traditionalists, of course, right? The yin to the yang to the yin. Artists and critics. Oh God, don't you love a critic? Artists and critics who adhered to these academic traditions and conservative artistic norms were often the most critical of the secessionist avant-garde approach and departure from the established conventions. I don't know where I stand there. I mean, there is something about tradition. Most of you know that I was in the restaurant business. I was part of the Lombardi family, which is the oldest. There's the first pizzeria in the United States, and the oldest pizzeria in the United States. And we were traditionalists. We didn't break from that norm of what we deemed to be the original pizza. And what I mean is, like, we didn't put pineapple and ham on our pizza. So, like, I get both sides of the story, but I never poo-pooed anyone that wanted to put pineapple and ham on their pizza or buffalo sauce. There's enough room for everybody. And instead of just saying, we are the traditionalists and we're over here and this is the art that we appreciate, and but they didn't do that. They were very stringent that if you didn't adhere to the academic traditions, then they looked their nose down upon it, and that's something that I never really had space for. because as most of you know that are here with me, I take a deep dive and I go off in all different directions. I'm like a big tree with all these branches sprouting out, and there's room for everybody. There's how many people on this planet? I don't think that there's any one way to do anything. So the established institutions, of course, was the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, and other art institutions viewed the secession as a threat to their authority and their influence. And that's what it comes down to, folks, in the end, all the time. We are the authority, and we want the power to influence your point of view and what you think. And emotion, no, we're not going to evoke any emotion out of you. We're going to tell you what to think, and we're going to tell you what to feel. We're going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. And that's always what it comes down to. They resisted the movement's efforts to challenge their dominance and control over the art world. And bravo, because we have some major works of art to this day on both sides of the story. The traditional art and, this more innovative style of art. And I think I'm coming into here right where I'm going to, kind of give you a glimpse of how this is looking with the ABs, switching out the just a plain color here, plain color. This is like a yellow, but this was switched out for a same color, but with an AB on top. So, as I'm thinking about it, it's like there's the regular AB of the tradition, of the traditionalists, the regular drill, the square drill, the traditionalists. And then there is the modernist drill, which would be the AB. There were a few more groups that were fighting the secessionists, and they were getting hit from all sides. Conservative elements in society. So some segments of society, political, religious conservatives, they were wary of what the secessionists were embracing, these unconventional themes and provocative imagery, which we see a lot from Klimt. They saw the movement as undermining the traditional values and societal norms. So this painting of Klimt's was snatched up by the Belvedere Museum before it was even completed, but there's a few more, and one is coming up where it was just deemed pornographic. And so I guess it did undermine the traditional values in their eyes of just seeing a half-naked woman or a full-naked woman was deemed pornographic. And I could imagine all the other opinions that they must have had of these artists, that they were, a bunch of degenerate men who were painting nude women instead of appreciating the story behind it and the symbolism behind it. And one of the last groups that were against the secession were the financial backers and patrons. Certain patrons of the arts and financiers who were accustomed to supporting more conventional forms of art were hesitant to invest in the experimental and often controversial works produced by the secessionists. But despite facing opposition, the Vienna Secession movement persisted and eventually gained recognition for its innovative contributions to the art world. And at the forefront of the secession movement stood Gustav Klimt, and he was renowned for his distinctive style, which we see here in this painting. It's characterized by intricate patterns, sensual symbolism, and rich symbolism. Klimt's works often explored themes of love, sexuality, and the human condition, infused with symbolism drawn from mythology, religion, and nature. And this video is also slowed down here, but I believe once I give you an overhead look at how this section is coming out, I believe that I speed it up a little bit. And if not, it would have been like 2 hours long. I think it's about 40 minutes long, 45 minutes long. I have gotten so much more of this painting completed off camera. I am thinking about where I'm going after this video drops. Is there another area of Klimt's life that I want to explore? Because there's so much more coming up in this period of time that I think I covered. When Klimt died, he was like 55 years old. So I think I covered in this video coming up are going to be his iconic paintings. This, of course, is one of them. I don't know if this is Klimt's most famous painting. It may be. I love going into the Belvedere Museum, and you're able to tour that museum. You're able to tour all the paintings of his that are there. I think that the Belvedere Museum needs its own spotlight. It is spectacular. If you're into architecture like I am, it is spectacular. The grounds of the Belvedere Museum are amazing. And being able to do a 360 virtual tour of it as if you're walking through it with your own camera in your hand. I could spend hours just doing that and like zooming in on every picture and every brushstroke, as I gave you a glimpse of in the part 5, which was a very short video, but I still think that there was a lot of information in that one there. I don't think I go much further here, but okay. I didn't want to get into the next part of this little exploration here. And then have to break away because I'm actually going to drop in when I get to that section, the original painting of the kiss. So his iconic paintings, such as the kiss, there is another, Judith and the Head of Holofernes and the Tree of Life. They kind of they're just the epitome of the secessionist aesthetic. I'll say that again. They are the epitome of the secessionist aesthetic. There is a blending of exquisite craftsmanship with a profound thematic depth. Starting with this painting, starting with the kiss, which I don't want to drop in until I give you that overhead look and then get into the kiss. Believe it or not, there's still more to explore with this painting. It was done between 1907 and 1908. Gold leaf on canvas, but there's also silver and platinum leafing on this canvas. It is considered a masterpiece of the Vienna Secession in the period of Art Nouveau and symbolism. Many consider this to be Klimt's most important work, which I find interesting because there's no record from Klimt of who these two individuals are. And as you take a deeper dive, which I have, and I think, yes, I know what this is about. Yes, okay, yeah, here's another piece of the puzzle that is falling into place. Just doing research for this part of the masterclass, the Secession period, led me to so much more information. I only came across one curator who thought this to be, I think I'm getting ready to, nope, I'm not. I think I came across one curator who thought this to be Orpheus and Eurydice from the Greek legend story. And I came across two other mythological stories where other curators thought it was two other couples, one of them being Apollo and Daphne, I believe it is, and one being Dionysius, which was interesting. I was up last night till about 2 a.m., reading both those stories. I still think it's Orpheus and Eurydice. So here's my overhead shot. Let me just quickly drop in the kiss so you could take a look at what it is that I'll be talking about. So I dropped in the original portrait of the kiss on the right hand side of the screen. This is in the Belvedere Museum in Vienna. And again, coming into information that I came across when I was doing my research. I'm sorry, I'm reading from my iPad. Research that I came across was there is a YouTube, I have to make a note to put a link in, and this painting that I have here, you see on the bottom, it says Google Arts and Culture. That's an app from Google, which is amazing, and you can do that 360 tour that I was talking about from that app. Let me pop that back up. So as I was saying, I came across this video that's on YouTube. I didn't take a look at it. I came across the actual newsprint. And who was it written by? It was written by Eliza Goodpasture. Easy name. Eliza, my name, but with a Z. Kind of like Liza with a Z, not Lisa with an S. Eliza Goodpasture. And she was at the Belvedere Museum, and she wrote this article, and she had stated that the longer you look, the darker it gets. And reassessing Klimt's The Kiss was the title of her article. And she questioned if the woman was unconscious. Could the man's embrace be violent? And a new film invites us to challenge our preconceptions about the gilded masterpiece. And this was published on Monday, October the 30th. What is that? The eve before Halloween? October 30th, 2023. So I will, say myself, the more that I dive into this painting, I've had a lot of emotional reaction to this painting. Is she unconscious? Is she on her knees? Is there something? This painting was exhibited in the Belvedere Museum under the title The Lovers. So that is what Klimt named this painting. It wasn't until it went to Rome to be exhibited. Was it Rome or another part of Italy? That the Italians were calling it the kiss, the kiss, the kiss. So I think that if Klimt had named this the kiss, there would have been a story behind the kiss. But he did name it. It was exhibited originally in the Belvedere Museum as the lovers. And that was his intention, that they were lovers. And it makes me believe that it was Orpheus and it was Eurydice, and that there is symbolism in the kiss, and that the kiss here has a larger meaning than just two lovers here. Again, you can stare at this painting, and she had a negative reaction to it. It was an emotional reaction from somewhere in her own psyche, maybe, that she is looking at this as a much darker image. I don't know if it was actually, I don't know if Eliza just reported on this painting, or if this was her from her own point of view. I think it was the curator and not her. But you'll read the article. I will put it down below. So we were going back into some of Klimt's more successful paintings that you may have seen, and the significance that they had during the secession movement, and this new style, this new innovative style, new materials to work with, new textures. And one of them was Judith and the Head of Holofernes. So I'm going to pop this up because the model for Judith was Klimt's longtime friend, and I believe she was a patron as well as a lover of Klimt, was Adele Bloch-Bauer, who is the portrait of Adele and the woman in gold. Despite some changes to the features, this is Adele Bloch-Bauer, and it's a beautiful, oh gosh, it's a gorgeous piece. It's disturbing, okay? And I guess because maybe she was a lover of his also, it may account for the erotic overtones of the piece. There's blood running down the white sheets as Judith, who was a pious young widow, she beheads Holofernes, who was a general of the Assyrian army that had besieged her city. Moved by the plight of her people and filled with trust in God, Judith took matters into her own hands, and that's putting it mildly here. I love that she was supposed to be a pious young woman, but Klimt painted her. I'll pop it back up again. Judith was a pious young woman, and Klimt painted her. He altered Adele's features, but he painted her with this very bold look on her face, a champion. Her chin is jutting forward, the eyes are lowered down. She's holding the head and then cradling it with her other hand. Here she is, she did what the men couldn't do. She lured Holofernes into her tent and she beheaded him. And it makes me think of, what the women of that time looking at that thought about that. Was the emotion evoked that, here's a strength of a woman and courage of a woman on full display, almost bare naked, also not ashamed of her body, and how she actually made this conquest was to lure him into her tent. So yeah, I love that work of art. Another work of art by Klimt is the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life, I don't know if it's two. I think it's two. I think it's the Tree of Life. There's very dominant images on both sides of the painting. They're both symbolic, and they connect life and death and heaven and earth. There are deep roots of the tree that begin underground, which is, again, for Klimt, the symbolism there is the realm of the underworld. I will pop a picture up. I'm loving the gold and the red together. Just so pretty. So here's the Tree of Life, and as I was saying, both sides of this, you have the Tree of Life in the middle, and you have two images on either side of the tree. It connects life and death, heaven and earth. The roots of the tree are going underground in the realm of the underworld, and the trunk breaks through to the earth and rises up to the sky. The upper branches curl and twist and intertwine as they connect to the heavens. I think the tree of life represents the continuity of life, as well as its complexities. It unites all elements of life. I think that Klimt did a really good job emphasizing the connectedness, again, by his use of this flattened style and design elements that envelope the entire surface. If you able to look like into the tree, I don't know how big this is going to come across on your end, but there's all symbolic images in the tree, as well as the two human figures beside each tree. I can spend hours on the human figure on the right. That is the single woman in a pose that is reminiscent of Egyptian art. And that is called expectation. She wears an elaborately patterned dress, again with the triangles, that expands as it gets closer to the ground. And besides the tree is a second couple in an embrace. Other than the kiss, I believe this is one of two other images that Klimt used, the couple embracing, and they're wrapped in clothing, and that becomes the unifying decorative form, and they're called fulfillment. All the images feature a strong sense of that flattened space and surface decoration. The clothing melds into the patterns that echo the pattern of the tree. I popped in those two pictures from the tree of life, of the tree with the symbolism in the branches and in the trunk, and also of this embracing couple, which I love. I love the swirling branches behind and like in the branches. You can see, those Egyptian eyes, and again, the clothing just melds in between the two of them. Again, with the pattern art, and you could see that they're melded together because you're looking at the back of what would be his robe or tunic, and there's both the symbols that Klimt used for masculine and feminine energy in between the two of them. She's not just in circles and he's just not in rectangles and squares. It melds in between the two of them, even though you can see that they're wearing two different styles, but they meld in together. I think I am pointing out here that I'm ready to put those flowers in. I can't wait to give you guys a final view of how far I got here, even though I had to take a large section out and replace them with AB drills. I think these three paintings that I opted to show you here and talk about exemplify Gustav Klimt's distinctive style and the thematic depth that just showcase that richness and complexity of his work within the context of the Vienna Secession movement and their principles. But besides Klimt's iconic works, there were several other significant paintings from the Secession period. The Beethoven Frieze was a monumental work that was created as a decorative mural for the 14th Vienna Secession exhibition in 1902. It's highly symbolic, and it's a highly symbolic representation of the human quest for happiness and the challenges encountered along the way. The frieze is inspired by Beethoven's Ninth Symphony and incorporates themes of love, suffering, and redemption. It is stunning, and it was, again, created as an homage to the composer Beethoven. It is a masterpiece of symbolist art. It features intricate gold leaf and vibrant colors to depict the human journey from yearning to fulfillment. The Beethoven Frieze is on permanent display at the Vienna Secession building as it was painted on the walls. And just in time, here come those flowers that are going to be put in. So I will just sit here quietly and watch along with you. They're the very tiny little pink ones. And after I completed the section that I did, I thought about taking them out. I again went to the original painting and I looked at it and I was like, they're not flowers there. And I might take those out. My husband just walked out the door. In the middle of all this, there was a repair happening in my house, but let's take a look. And here we go. The first stages of putting the A-B drills in replacement of the A. And I am going to be moving all the way up, and it didn't, oh, I got drills everywhere. It didn't fail me that I had did this part of the painting already. So if this is an entity, as I was saying, then I already did this part. So I'm going to have to take some of the drills out and replace them with AB drills. But this is what it is starting to look like. I'm going to continue on. So I actually out-talked the video. I didn't even give you a conclusion to Klimt and his bold experimentation and unapologetic pursuit of artistic truth, which continue to resonate with contemporary audiences, cementing his legacy as one of the most influential figures in art history. Today, the Secessionist spirit lives on in countless forms, from avant-garde movements to modern design trends, a testament to the enduring power of artistic rebellion and innovation. And I'm giving you a peek of what I finished here. Yep, I got pretty far into this entity and some of her dress. I didn't give you a view of what I did here when I took out the A's that were already placed. You can see they've been replaced with ABs, but I have to do that on this side, right over his shoulder. So I will videotape that and I'll show you how I did that. I use my cuticle nippers that are, designated for my diamond painting. And again, this robe is probably the color blocking of the canvas, because even this robe and whatever this entity is, because her dress is more confetti. And then there are 3 sections that are left here where all the flowers are. I'm still contemplating if I am going to take these flowers out. I did try to, you see how there is a partial of the canvas in the background. I think in this one here, I tried to fill that in because that area is sticky. So I don't want it to, be collecting dust and dirt. But here is a shot of how it's coming along. Another deep dive into the world of Klimt and the kiss. Here are those red round drills. And I did place them in first this time around in this section here to see if I have a better diamond painting experience when I place the square drills in the last time. I put the red drills in last, and being that they're a little bit bigger, they kind of move these other drills around. I am so eager to start Adele, Lady in Gold. And that's another deep dive. That's a lot of information there also. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the Secession period. I learned a little bit more about Klimt. I wanted to get into his contemporaries that were also part of the movement, but just didn't have the time for it. But I will put their links in this video. Create the world that you want to live in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.